All right, welcome back. So today we are on the fire team because it seems like everybody is really interested in this platform, being it's Arrma's latest drop. So today we're gonna tear it down. I'm gonna make some changes to it to get it to stop nosediving because that seems to be the biggest issue I have with this RC. This RC takes a beating. I ran it stock straight out of the box, no changes, no pinion upgrade, no sliding the battery back. People have asked this and said, you need to do this, Earl. You have to do this. If not, the RC just doesn't, it just keeps nosediving. Or I got comments saying, you just suck at driving, which is probably true. And that's why I hit everything, and that's why I buy Arrmas. Because then I can hit everything and it survives. A lot of people were saying that I'm not showing the true out of the box because RC Dude 81 and Duper Bash out of the box, theirs flies 30 feet in the air. I can guarantee you this thing just out of the box with no pinion change, no wrenching on it whatsoever, unless you drop it from 30 feet, I can't see it. Well, that's not true, because if you run from an on-road surface onto a big ramp, you might be able to get it 30 feet in the air, because this is a really fast RC, and that's very possible. And it can survive the landing because it's a pretty tough RC. So people were saying that, I'm telling everybody that this RC sucks, and I've not once ever said that. I don't understand the handbrake. That's something that I just don't understand for a basher. But it's hard to lock up the center diff when you have a handbrake to get it to stop nosediving or add thicker fluid, because when you hit that handbrake, all 4 tires are going to lock up. I've never said it's a bad RC. The 2 complaints that I've had is Arrma's quality control sucks. 100% for ready to run. If I'm going to keep getting that quality, I'd rather have a kit so I can build it myself. Or a roller so that I can go through it and make the changes out of the box. The other one was the price point. Those are the 2 things that I wasn't happy with on this RC. Wish it had AVC, which gave us a better remote controller. And I still feel that way. And I, wish it had lights instead of a handbrake. So I'd like to see 2 changes on it. And, it's Arrma tough. I keep saying it. People that don't watch the video completely and just take bits and pieces of it, or watch it on another platform, or just hear people talking about it, it's funny how everything gets twisted. I've never said that Arrma builds a bad rig. I just said their quality control sucks, because my last 8 RCs have had quality control issues, the ones I've purchased. The only one that in the last 8 that hasn't had an issue was the Vendetta, and that was the store's Vendetta. When I bought my Vendetta, it had a bad tire on it. It was glued wrong, way out of balance, so it kept sliding to one side. Where the original Vendetta that I got from the hobby store, the demo model, that one worked perfect. So it's hard to say I hate on a brand. I'm just, like I said, I've called out influencers because I wasn't going to buy this rig. I just wanted to, the price point was out for me. So I just didn't feel that $800 for this platform for me was worth it. And so for me, I wasn't going to get it. But then after watching video after video and people suggesting, Earl, please, run this thing, buy it, tell us what's really going on. And that's what I did. So now that all that is said and done, I don't want to hear any more about it. Arrma's quality, everybody knows, sucks. Why the right front wheel keeps dropping a bearing, I can't tell you. I've never had any other Arrma bust a bearing ever. I've had Arrma's 3S line motor bearings fail, but they fail. They don't fall apart. They lock up. This one lost all the little ball bearings in it. So, and that's it. So we're going to bust this thing down. We're going to get it fixed because now I'm vested into this thing. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this platform usable for what I do. And that's bashing, running into stuff. I really do like these tires. People are telling me just to take the tires off, throw some 6S backflips on it, and go rip it. But that's not what I want. I like these tires. I like this sidewall. You know, they're not coming unglued. Maybe it's, I mean, the thing is fast, so I don't know. I like this tire, so I want to use them. So the only wrenching I've done on this was fix or replace the motor mount bolts that fell out because they didn't have Loctite on it, and replace one bearing on it. So far, that's all I've done. Everything's been on camera. I did put together a playlist on the Fireteam. And that's it. That way people can see my experience with it, good or bad. I'm just going to show. And like I said, my first bashing video on this, I started having a blast until the bolts fell out. And then from there, you know, it ended my day. And then I had to go back to the workbench. And I've been working a ton of hours right now. So it's not like I had a bunch of time to wrench on this. I just wanted to run it. I just wanted to play with the $800 RC I bought. And I know people are saying, you know, it's a $750 RC. Why do you keep calling it 800? Well, because I paid $830, 10% California tax. Can't say that that's what I paid. I'm just saying that's what it was selling for. I think my hobby shop was $709 plus tax, or $729 plus tax. Still an $800 RC. Most places have state tax that you have to pay, and I count that into the cost of the RC because that's the cash coming out of my bank to cover it. So I like this integrated front body and bumper support, front and rear. The reason I like it is it's distributing the impacts to the front to this roll cage and connecting it to the rear, kind of like the center brace. And I like that because it can take some hard hits. Most of the time with Arrmas, if you keep hitting stuff really hard in the front, the bumper mount will bend up on the 8S line and the 6S line. You'll bend the chassis in front of the diff, which just makes a crooked bumper. It doesn't affect the way it drives. If it's a really hard front impact, it will actually twist and then throw off the front diff, and then, yeah, you have issues. But I haven't experienced that yet. Like I said in the last video when I was running it, this body, I'm having trouble getting it put back on. As you see, I just lifted it up, and the rear body mounts aren't, or the rear posts, they're not lining up. It's easy, and these side things, where these pins, these little pins go into this, I think my body's flaring out, and it's just making it hard to integrate lock this piece, get these lined up, and get the back lined up. When it was brand new, it was pretty easy to set on. Now that I've bashed it and I've run into a few things, I'm having trouble with that. So I'm just letting you know my experience. Also, if you notice, there's none of those swivel things that go on these body posts. Remember those little swivel things that would snap on here? They're not there. It's just the post. And what it is the post locks into the body now, locks into the roll cage. You see that right in there? So that could be part of the reason I'm having trouble pushing the body on, because these do wiggle around, and that might be loose because that is wiggling. So some of the impact might have pulled the screw a little loose on that post, but I like that. I like that the roll cage is integrated into the body post, these little T things. I think that's ingenious. It's really making everything locked together, which I think is real cool, and that's probably why it's adding to the durability of this RC. So that's something very, very cool that I do like. Arrma, like I said, they have really good designs. It's just the execution of whoever's putting these RCs together, whether it's the 12-year-old kids that you guys are saying assembling these things over in China. I couldn't tell you. I know that it's not a Horizon thing because, you know, low C is sold by Horizon, and I talk about low C quality all the time. They're just, low C quality is, I haven't had a ready to run from low C not assembled right. They've always seemed to be assembled properly. So I know it's not that. I know it's whoever's assembling it for Arrma, and I just bring you guys what I see, and that's it. This wire has now popped out of the bracket here. That's supposed to be in there. Not really a big thing. I do like how they put a wire support here for the motor wires now, and I know these are supposed to be set into that thing as well, so those popped up. The fan wiring is really close to that gear. That thing can actually hit the pinion, so I don't like that. So I'll probably zip tie this over here somewhere, because you don't want anything around your pinion gear that could cut it. So I'll probably throw a zip tie around that. And that's the little quality things I'm talking about. I think, let's see, the battery strap seems to be doing okay, because that's a pretty heavy battery. So what I want to do first is I want to get the center diff out. I want to check for diff fluid. I want to change out the pinion, which means I'm going to have to take this motor out. So I'm going to probably do that stuff first. I don't know if these upper bolts, see, normally we would have to heat these things because there's so much Loctite in it. I mean, they are tight, so they're not loose. So they are coming off without having to add heat, which is good because there's a lot of plastic around it. And there definitely is Loctite on it. So this one's got Loctite on these bolts, and that's probably why they didn't come loose. I think they just missed the 3 bolts that were on the bottom with Loctite. But we're going to check the diff as well, see if there's fluid in it. It feels like it's just, yeah, see, that one's got Loctite too. Perfect amount of Loctite. So that's a good thing on the motor. Let's get these motor wires out of here that I just put back in. Unplug them. Let's unplug the fan for the heat sink. Wonder if I'm going to have to take this side bracket off. Yes, I am. I don't think, I'm probably going to have to take the whole motor out, because whatever that bolt is in the way. So I'm probably going to have to knock off the whole side, I think. Take off this side plate in order to, yeah, so the rear handbrake has got a plug on the outside of the receiver box, so you can take this off without having to open the receiver box, because there is a plug on the outside. I definitely like seeing that. Probably should take off this ESC. Might just take the ESC, get it out of the way so I can get this side plate off, and then we can start working on the center diff. Like I said before, I just never felt that I should have to work on a ready to run out of the box. That's my feeling. Some people are trying to change people's minds, saying every ready to run you have to work on them. I feel that way, but that's just my opinion. That's the great thing about this hobby, is everybody has an opinion. So we're right here. So what I'm going to do is take all these little bolts out. Oh, that's a longer screw. So short, long, short, short, and that's a long screw, and there's a little piece on the back side of that. Oh, the little wire holder for the handbrake. So that's the order: short, long, short, short, long. Pretty cool. So I'm going to leave that in the order so I know how it goes back together, because I'm just not... Oh, I don't have to take the motor thing apart. So once you get those out, this whole piece comes off, and hopefully that'll let my motor slide now. Oh, and that other long screw is for the other wire holder for the handbrake. That's why those screws are longer. So now that that stuff's out of the way, that will slip off and we can get to the C-clip. Look how tiny that pinion is. That's a really small pinion. And a 2050 kV motor. Wires aren't getting destroyed in any way, which is a good thing. I do like, feels really smooth. So the bearings, no play forward or back. This drive shaft is bent. The front one is a little bent as well, and I relate that to the wires being or the screws to the center diff mount holder deal. The 3 screws falling out, that's pretty much what bent that. So I think we can pull these clips. Oh, that just fell out. And we can pull the pins out. And I do like this locking center brace deal, locking into the body. 2 pins, and then this should come off. And we can flip this around, and we can get to these bolts. Servicing these diffs, Arrma's always made their platforms really serviceable, which I'm very thankful, because one of the things that we normally do, depending on your weather, where you're bashing, is changing diff fluids. And I know that's why people ask, Earl, what diff fluids are you using? It's like, well, are you in California? Are you in the high heats like I am? Because that will play a big part. If you're bashing in the snow, I don't suggest you use the fluids that I use. We just don't have a lot of snow here. So the fluid choices I give you are most likely going to be wrong. So the short screws, because they think they're short, go in the front. The longer screws go in the back. And there is Loctite on those bolts as well. You can see it right there at the tip. So going into the aluminum mount, the side with the aluminum mount, has Loctite on the front. You could hear my little impact driver driving that. So far, the only Loctite that's been missing is the bottom of the chassis, the 3 on the bottom. And my plan is this weekend to go to the hobby store, because I know they do have one on display there. And I want to check the bolts on the bottom of the chassis, so I'm going to ask if that's possible, if I could pull one of the screws and see if maybe it was just one thing, you know, and that's, if it's just one RC, then that's part of quality control, but also it's just a defect and it's just one person and everybody doesn't have to look for it, which that's way better than all of them missing Loctite. Could have been that person's lunch break. So I'm going to take that motor mount, that, or drive shaft. So the short one's in the back, the long one's in the front. And there we go. And that feels pretty, honestly, that's a pretty good amount of resistance. So I have high hopes that this has got fluid in it. God, that actually is surprising. That's smooth, and it's got really good resistance, I must say, for a differential. I'm shocked that it has that much stiffness to it. So we're gonna check, since this is metal, these bolts should have Loctite on them. And yeah, the gasket should be on this side. I mean, I could pull it apart on this side and check, but let's do the ring side, because that's the side that's most important, should have Loctite on it. That's the one right there. I'm going to do these by hand, because if they do have Loctite, I don't want the impact to strip them out. Oh, and that unscrewed really easy. So I don't think there's Loctite on this. Nope, there is no Loctite on that bolt whatsoever. Yep, that unscrews easy too. No Loctite. Which I know on the 8S Outcast and Creighton. Yeah, see, that one shows it might have had a little dab of Loctite on that. Either that or the threads started to strip, but that to me looks like there's Loctite. You can see the difference. See how that one is white at the top and this one's just all black? That one looks like it had a touch of Loctite. Let's keep going. See, that had some resistance there. Might be some blue Loctite. That first one had nothing. Nope, that one's got nothing on it. Nothing on it. Oh, and that's, oh God, this springed apart. No, that turns really, really easy. But they weren't loose, which is a good sign. Nope, no Loctite on that either. So, no Loctite on those bolts. We will add some Loctite there. Just a dab. I'll probably use blue. And it kind of looks like grease, but it does look full. No, it's not full. But that does look pretty thick. Oh, it pushed it up. But that does look pretty thick. So there is fluid in it, which is really good to see, because that means it's not going to strip out. So I'm probably going to open up the owner's manual and see what weight they put in the center diff, and then we're going to up that weight. I want to put 500K in it, but I'm going to look at the owner's manual. We'll be right back. All right, so here's the manual. So page 20 is the center differential. And it's saying 200,000 CST. So here's some 500K, and that worked really good in the Techno. Stuff's pretty thick. There we go. All right. I don't really like the sound of those bearings. But it is what it is. And here's the pinion they give us. Let's pop this pinion out. And it comes with a warning. High-speed gearing. Optional high-speed gearing is for running on hard, flat surfaces only. Do not use off-road for high load. Start-stop driving, as this will overheat the motor. and or speed controller and cause damage, failure. And that was the main reason I didn't gear up, because our motor temps were already really high. So that's got me kind of concerned that I really don't want to. And that's a big spur. But we'll see where our temps are, because right now California is warm again. I think today was almost 80 degrees. So we're gonna have, I think from the forecast, it's gonna be the next month that we're going to have high temps. So this has got some blue Loctite on that little grub screw, but we're going to add some red because it is a grub screw. And they like to back out. I hate with these little locks. They work good. They're just hard to get on and off. There's a little lock. I'll find a little grub screw slot. God, that doesn't look like there's a slot anywhere. Definitely need heat. So they got Loctite on that too. And then it comes right out. And that one's got red Loctite on it. They get a little warm when you heat them up. Oh, that's blue. What the heck is that? Oh, there's a spacer. Never noticed that before. There we go. The lock's back on. this back. There we go. All right. So, safety third. But that's going to conclude this video. This was the bearing that was blown out. You can see right here, I wanted to show you. You can see these little indentations where the bearings literally broke through the sleeve to come apart, which that's the first I've ever seen that. You see those indentations? Let's see if I can show this. Right there, right there. These are where the balls had exited from that wheel bearing. You can see it right there, right there. So it's got these indentations where it broke through on that, which that's the first time I've seen that. And here's the inner one that goes in there. So what happens is little ball bearings exit, it gets loose and blows out. First time I've seen that on a bearing. But that's going to end this video. Footage is too long. We're going to continue on. Stay tuned for the next video. We got the high-speed gearing in there. We stiffened up the center diff. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to test the handbrake and see if it stops all four wheels or if it still just stops the rear. That's why I didn't drain the fluid out. I just added to it, trying to stiffen it up a little bit more to try to give me some front wheel speed. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.